Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the financial jargon so you don't have to. Today we are diving into some interesting paperwork from the Federal Home Loan Bank of New York, and let me tell you, it is not what you might expect at first glance before we jump in if you like getting these nonsense breakdowns of important company documents. Do us a favor by hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Also, we have a great community over on Discord. All the details are in the description below. You might find some real gems there. Now, Federal Home Loan Bank of New York, or FHLBNY, as they are known, is not exactly your typical publicly traded company. Instead, it is part of a network of banks created by Congress to support homeownership and community development. But even organizations like these need to report their financial dealings to the government. And that is exactly what this filing is all about. It is a current report letting everyone know about significant events that have happened recently. It is January 2026 and the bank is reporting on some of its financial obligations. So what is this report really about? Well, at its core, it is about how the FHLBNY funds itself and the debts it takes on to do that. They get a lot of their money by selling what are called consolidated obligations. These are like loans they take out in the big money markets. They consist of bonds and discount notes. And here is a key point. These are not just the responsibility of one bank, but all 11 federal home loan banks share this responsibility. That means if one bank cannot pay its debts, the others might have to step in and cover it. This is a pretty big deal because it spreads the risk, but it also means everyone is linked together. Now, they mentioned Schedule A, and this is where the financial details start to appear. This schedule lists the specific bonds and notes that the FHLBNY plans to issue or has taken on responsibility for. But there are a few important things to note about this schedule. First of all, they say that while the issuance of these consolidated obligations is significant to the bank, they have not made a judgment on whether any specific single obligation is important enough to report individually. That is a bit of a strange way to put it, but it means they are not flagging any particular debt as supercritical on its own. Also, the report clarifies that Schedule A does not include things like interest rate exchange agreements. These are financial tools that banks use to manage their exposure to interest rate changes, but they are not directly listed here. So while you see the debt numbers, you are not seeing the full picture of how they are managing the risks associated with that debt. Here is another crucial point. Schedule A is not designed to help you easily track the total amount of debt they have outstanding for which they are the main payer they exclude short. Term debt that matures within a year, and they do not tell you if the money they borrow is to pay off old debts or for new projects, so you cannot just look at Schedule A to see if their overall debt is going up or down dramatically. They say they will report that total in their regular filings with the US Securities and Exchange Commission. These are the people who keep an eye on companies and their finances to make sure everything is on the up and up. And finally, the amounts reported on this Schedule A are what they call at par. This means the face value of the debt, not necessarily what they actually got for it after any discounts or fees. This is important because when they report their official financial statements to the SEC, they will use different accounting methods that do account for those differences between the face value and what they actually received, or what it is worth. So the numbers here are a good starting point, but they are not the final word in their official financial statements. So what is the actual exhibit they are showing us? Well, it's Exhibit 99.1, and it is titled Schedule A Containing Information Pertaining to Consolidated Obligations in a Nutshell. It is the list of their upcoming or recently taken on debt. It is pretty detailed, listing dates, amounts, and types of debt, like bonds and discount notes, however. As we have discussed, this is not going to give us the whole story of their financial health or debt levels, but it does give us a snapshot of their borrowing activities for a specific period in early 2026. For example, we see a mix of bonds and discount notes being prepared for issuance, all with various maturity dates and principal amounts. And wrapping up the official part of this report, we see the signatures. The filing is signed by Benjamin Tan, who holds the title of Assistant Treasurer. This is a standard closing for these types of documents, confirming that an authorized person has reviewed and approved. The content this tells us that responsible individuals within the organization are overseeing these financial disclosures. Now let us put on our Warren Buffett hat and look beyond the technicalities. The Federal Home Loan Bank system is designed to be a stable funding source for housing and community development. This report is about how they are raising those funds through issuing debt. Remember, these are joint obligations among the FHLB system, not government guaranteed debt. This means the health of all the banks in the system plays a role in your confidence in these obligations. The fact that they are carefully detailing their consolidated obligations shows a commitment to transparency in their funding operations. However, the disclaimer about not providing a total outstanding debt figure in this specific schedule, and the exclusion of derivative instruments suggests that this is a focused report on issuances rather than a comprehensive debt overview for the everyday investor. This is more for understanding the pipeline of funding and less about the immediate balance sheet strength revealed in their quarterly or annual reports that focus on issuing debt. B. Implies a strategy of growth or of refinancing existing obligations, which is a common practice for these types of institutions. The real question for an observer would be how efficiently they are managing the cost of this debt and how it impacts their ability to support their primary mission of housing and community investment over the long term. So, what is the take? Way here, the FHLBNY is actively managing its funding through the issuance of consolidated obligations. This report gives us a peek into those activities, but it is important to remember it is not a full financial statement. It highlights the interconnectedness of the FHLB system and the importance of understanding that their obligations are backed by the collect. Strength of the member banks, not the direct guarantee of the US government. If you are looking for a deep dive into their overall financial health, you will need to look at their other official filings, but this document gives you insight into their short-term borrowing plans. Alright, that is our decode of the Federal Home Loan Bank of New York's latest report. What are your thoughts on how these institutions fund themselves and the implications of joint obligations? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more corporate insights so we can keep decoding for you as well. And make sure to join our Discord community linked in the description. You will not want to miss out on those discussions. Thanks for watching Corporate Decoder, and we will see you in the next one.